subscribe. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know what this was, but I'm back. I'm back again with a new video like every week on Wednesday at 4:30. Yes, 4:30. But if you're new here, welcome. You might want to hit that subscribe button. I'll wait patiently till you do it. And if you are subscribed, make sure you have my post notifications on. Man, what are you doing? You're wasting my time, your time. You need to know when I post a video because it's important. It's just important. But anyway, so I'm glad you guys are all here. I'm so excited for this video. I'm going to share with you what it is like being in college for the first year. Even though with all this coronavirus thing, my college experience ended abruptly towards the end of second semester. But you know what? There was perks to that too. And I'm gonna tell you what those perks were. So let's get into the video. Basically, school was school. Now, that's the first thing you remember. My college experience is not going to be the same as yours. Yours isn't going to be the same as mine or anybody else's, or what you see in movies or what you see on TV, any of that. It's not going to be the same thing. But it's slightly similar. And your college experience, your college experience is definitely what you make it. It's not what you see from other people. It's not, what you see on TV and in movies. Even if it's like a reality type thing, it's not, because you're a different person. So for me, I was super excited to go to school. I've always been one of those kids who was like, oh, I'm going to college. Like it's not an option for me not to go, because I just wanted to go. Like I had seen, if you're like me, I'm a huge movie buff. So I'm like, oh my God, college is so much fun. High school is so much fun. I was definitely one of those kids who watched High School Musical and was like, oh my God, high school is gonna look like that. High school does not look like that. So if you were out there thinking that high school looks like High School Musical, it doesn't. It's a lie. I mean, it's just a lot. When you first go in, there's so much that they tell you. Orientation for a lot of people is kind of overwhelming. For me, it was kind of overwhelming because it's a whole bunch of information being thrown at you. This and that and this and that and this and that. And that's any college that you're going to go to. It's just going to be a whole bunch of information to start with. So I'm here to tell you that the majority of that information, go ahead and throw it out the window, because you're not going to need any majority of that information. I mean, as far as your classes are concerned and things like that, yes. The biggest thing that I think I found to be the hardest was my school pushed for being involved in the campus and being involved in things that were going on in class and in school and things like that. And there's no issue with that at all. But I found that it became stressful for me because when I first got there, I was told, get involved. It'll make your college experience, it'll be very fulfilling and things like that. And yes, those things can be fulfilling, but if you're not the type of person who, loves to have like a whole bunch of stuff going on, then don't do it, because you're gonna regret doing it. You're gonna get to the middle of the semester, the end of the semester, and be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, because it's a lot. It is a lot, especially for your first year. You have classes, you're still getting accustomed to everything, and then on top of that, you're in these clubs and you're trying to be involved with the campus, and it can be stressful because you feel like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. It becomes an obligation, because it is an obligation. So my advice for that is don't do it. If you feel like you don't want to be involved and you're just doing it to do it because they tell you to do it, don't do it, because at the end of the day, why do it if you didn't want to do it in the first place? So I definitely learned my lesson with that, because it felt like a lot for me. Another huge thing would be finding time management. For me was a little bit hard because there were so many things that I did want to do. And I'm a biology major, which is not, one of the most complicated things, but it is a complicated major along with all the other majors. You have to find time to study. You have to find time to make time for yourself so you're not overloading. There's not a whole bunch of information that you have to process and go through. And so you definitely want to take that time to make a schedule, I guess, to keep it, because you're not going to keep it. I can guarantee you that right now. You can get a planner. You can be like, oh, I'm going to do homework at this time, this time, this time, this time. You're not going to keep it, because there are so many other things for you that you're going to want to do. And I found myself wanting to do all these other things and not sticking to my schedule. And if you're a little similar to me, where it's like, oh, well, this is my schedule, like I really want to stick to it, it was kind of hard to drift from that. But that's okay, because you're not meant to stick to that schedule, especially being your first year. You think you have so many expectations going into it, and those expectations, you can throw them out of the window right now. Right now, as you're watching this video, if you have expectations for how your first year of college is going to go, don't throw them out the window. Because my expectations and what I experienced were completely different. Now, it's okay to kind of keep those in the back of your head because they may still go the same way, but I can tell you right now, majority of them won't go the same way, and that's okay. It's okay. So I'll pause for a little bit on the little academic side of things, that sort of thing. So let's talk about dorm life. Dorm life. So being in the dorm is great and all. It's definitely something that I recommend to everyone to experience at least once if you plan on going to college and you have the opportunity to. So for me, I didn't really have a choice because my college was a first year live on campus requirement. So, that's something that I had to do. But even though I had to do it, it was definitely an experience. Definitely an experience. I was lucky enough to have a great roommate, like in the room with me at all times. Me and her became really great friends, and you've even seen her in my videos. Like, we were going out and doing things, and that's great. It's so great. But there were ups and downs in the beginning. When you first get there, you're getting acquainted with that person. You're getting to know that person because you live with them. You share a space, you share a bathroom. And, I was fortunate enough to have somebody that was as cleanly as I am and as organized as I like to be. And, we could kind of work with each other to kind of find our flow and find what worked best for us. But not everybody is that fortunate. And trust me, I've heard some horror stories from our school about certain people and, people just definitely not getting along, and it was a lot. And I was lucky enough not to have those problems. I also had 2 other Suitemates because we all live in this kind of like one big room. And, we live in this one big room, and there's 4 of us, and there's 2 of us in each room. And, I was lucky enough to, become friends with them and to, get along with them. And, we corresponded, a little bit here and there. For us, it was kind of like we were all kind of science-based majors. So when it came to like certain things, we could all kind of bounce off of each other and get help. I know my roommate helped me out a little bit with, trying to do certain things, and I helped her. And then, our suitemate was able to help me sometimes because she had already taken some of the classes that I was getting ready to take, or, the same kind of concept. So that was great. One of the cons of living in the dorm room is that if you want privacy, you have it, but you don't have it. It's like a kind of in-between thing. Like, lucky enough for me and my roommate were able to become friends. So it was kind of like after a certain amount of time, it wasn't really like a need for privacy. We just knew that we had our separate sides of the room. And, sometimes it would be like, oh, we come in and maybe we don't speak to each other. So she's taking time for herself, I'm taking time for myself. It's not a bad thing. It's just, that's how we knew that we wanted that kind of individual time. But if you want like pure privacy or just doing that sort of thing, you have to leave, which is not a bad thing because it gets you out of your room. But, it can be like, oh, well, I don't want to be in my room right now. I mean, I just want to be alone right now, but I can't because there's somebody else in the room. So you have to kind of go and find that for yourself, which is not a bad thing because I ended up going and finding like different things to do and stuff like that. And that also takes me back to being involved on campus. You can be involved and not specifically be in a club or be in some type of big organization gathering. So they have tons of events that are constantly going on. And I know now with the whole, COVID-19, they may not be doing the same exact things. But I know for me, when I first started, there were so many activities going on, so many different things you could get involved in to just, get out of your room for a few hours. And that is the kind of involvement that I found worked best for me instead of being committed to something. I didn't like having the obligation of being committed to, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. No, you can go to an event and that be your involvement, and you're comfortable with that being your involvement. So now let's talk about school in general and like going into college. I highly suggest that if you are a person that is going into school, going into college, or still trying to figure out what exactly you want to do, what you want to major in, things like that, don't feel pressured to pick something before you go, because registration, I can tell you right now, registration is intimidating. Registering for classes is intimidating. It is not a fun process because it can be kind of hard to figure out what classes you want to take. For my school, I was lucky that for registration, they kind of just make your schedule for you based on what you kind of picked for your major, or if you have one or not. So because I was a biology major, it was instantly like my person made my schedule for me for a semester, and I could kind of base my the rest of my classes off of what he originally made going into second semester. And the thing with that is, it was great for me because it kind of set me up. But if you don't know what you want to do, go in undeclared. There's nothing wrong with going in undeclared, because you kind of get a taste of what each thing is going to be about. Because your first year and probably second year is just kind of getting core things out of the way, math, science, things like that. And for me being a science major, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So I instantly got put into that. Whereas now I've come to realize I enjoy the science. It's a lot. And if I would have maybe gone in undeclared, it would have given me a taste of that. And I could have been like, ooh, maybe that's not something I want to go towards. I mean, for me, it is. But for many other people, it might be like, oh, well, I just need to make a decision now. And they go into it and they're like, oh, well, I guess I have to stick to it. You don't have to stick to it. It's your first year. You can change your major, change your minor, do whatever. It's cool. And talking to your advisor is always a really good thing. There's no question that's too big or too small. Sometimes you can get maybe an intimidating advisor where it's just kind of like you look at each other and then just telling you a whole bunch of information. You're like, okay, and then they're still looking at you, and it's really weird because, let me tell you, I kind of have that problem. But it's okay. I've learned to kind of pick up on how he functions, and it's kind of just like, if I have questions, I go in with my questions and he answers them, or I email him. They're always looking to kind of help you, because basically it's how you want to function throughout your college career. So always don't ever feel like you can't ask questions, or if you're confused about something, always put yourself in the area where you can ask questions and do things like that. First semester was definitely hard in the sense that I am super family oriented, which majority of people are, and I was comfortable with staying home. Like, so if you're, I don't know, I guess like you see a lot of people that are just like, oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to leave my house. I'm ready to go to college. I'm ready to move out. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. I was one of those people for about this much. I knew I wanted to go to college. I knew I was ready to do it. And I was like, oh, great. Like, I did it. And as soon as I did it, I got homesick. My mom left. My mom dropped me off and helped me move into my dorm and did things like that. And then when she left, I started crying because it was like, I'm here, I'm by myself, and it was rough. So I went home the first weekend. Like, my school for me is only like an hour or so away, but I went home for the first weekend because I was like, oh no, I'm not doing this. Like, I miss being at home in my own space, being around my family, people I know, because it's definitely, you don't know anybody unless you already plan to go to school with friends, and it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. So there were times where I would just go home on the weekends, or if I knew I could get out of class early, I would go home because I missed being home so much. So I was definitely really homesick. And I missed my friends because those are people that I was used to. I was comfortable. So your first semester in itself can be uncomfortable, because I have friends now that I've met at school, and they had a different experience where it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to get out of my house. I'm here, they're doing classes, they're thriving, everything's fun for them, everything's good for them. But if you're like me and, you really miss being home, you miss that kind of feeling of, I guess having somebody, I don't know, it's weird. It's just kind of one of those things. You get homesick, it's cool. Your first year is always an opportunity for you to kind of feel it out, especially if you committed to a college. You looked at the college, you did your research, everything before you went there. But when you get there, it's a whole nother story because you're actually there doing the work, you're going on campus, you're looking around, you're exploring, you're doing all the things. So the fact that you are there is different from when you explore it while you're doing your research. So it's always, I know so many people that for their first year, they committed to that school, but they're not there anymore. They transferred. They were like, oh no, I don't want to be, this maybe wasn't the college for me. Or they realized that maybe going home and doing school from home, that they were more comfortable that way. You don't like it, then it is what it is. It is what it is. So, COVID-19. I don't really want to talk too much about it exactly, but how it pertains to my first year college experience. Because this is kind of like, I know I said it was going to be my experiences that I'm telling you, but I'm also giving you a little bit of advice about, what to know, how you're going to feel, the things you're going to experience, things like that. So with everything that happened with this virus, all of the colleges in my state pushed us to go home and to go online and do online courses and do online teaching. Now, my problem with this, I went to school and signed up for in-person classes for a reason. So being in class, I learn a lot better because I'm in a setting that's like, okay, this is what you need to do. You have these responsibilities, this, and this. And it holds you accountable. Now, I'm very good at holding myself accountable for things in general, but it can be hard to, kind of differentiate what stuff needs to be done and what stuff, you can wait till later. And even though you're at school and you're staying in a dorm and there's, that's your home, it still feels like school. Like for me, being in a dorm, there was never a time where I felt like I could separate the two. So it was like, I'm at school 24/7. I have work that needs to be done 24/7. Even when I go back to my dorm, the weekend was the only time where I somewhat kind of chilled. But even then I was like, okay, I still have work for school. I'm here for school. It's no different than being in high school and getting up and going to a class every day. That's what it was. So when I came home, it was definitely kind of hard to get myself up to do things. Getting up, making sure I'm in class on time, not going to sleep during class, which I'm guilty of because there's been plenty of times where, my class didn't require us to have on our cameras. So I would turn on my computer and go to sleep. Like, it was what it was. But that was one of the things that I was worried about because when you're at school, you have to get up, you have to go to class, they take attendance, and they're probably, I don't know if our school kept up with, taking attendance and things like that when we were getting on, but from my perspective, it was like, well, I'm on, so it doesn't matter, but, I don't have to show my face. It was harder because most colleges have your teachers, your professors will have office hours. So if you have questions, you can go see them face to face and they can answer those questions for you and they can give you feedback, they can give you information, and you're not feeling like, oh my God, like this is a lot, this is so much information. You can ask those questions and they can give them to you right away. Whereas you're going to now where you have to email your professor and be like, hey, I don't understand this. And then they may not understand what you are asking your question about. And it's not like you can show them. So it makes communication a little bit harder. So it's definitely a huge adjustment. And like I said, the whole accountability thing, they give you a little bit more time for assignments and things like that. But the other thing with that is, I don't know about you guys, even if you're in high school or, further along in college, but when we went online, it was like all the teachers were like, oh, all this work, here you go. Make sure you take it. Make sure this is done by this date, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I was in class for months, and you were not giving this much work, but I'm at home and now you want to give all this work? First of all, the way I feel about this is, yes, majority of us may not have anything else to do. So why not do schoolwork? But for those of us, especially people in college, some people are grown people who have jobs and things to do. And some of these professors were definitely not taking that into consideration, but we're not going to talk about that because it was what it was. But yeah, no, so the whole being at home doing school definitely wasn't for me. It gave me opportunities to get my grades up because there were so many more assignments, I guess. And, I would say the thing that I learned was having some people will tell you this anyway, having people in the certain classes that you can closely associate with and, kind of bounce ideas off of or get help from is such a big thing, because when I came home, I knew I had these people in these classes. So if I needed help with something, or, there was something that I just was bugging me or I didn't understand, I had others who understood it that could explain it to me. So I was kind of getting a double learning curve where somebody was telling me something and I was also listening to the teacher. So it didn't feel like I was kind of by myself. Hopefully going into this second year, we're going to be on campus. Still kind of waiting to see what happens with that. But we're going to be on campus, and having people in your classes to kind of help you out is always a great thing to do. And things like that. I spat out an earful. But I hope that this video gives you so much information and a little bit of an insight on my kind of college experience. Overall, everybody's experience is going to be different. Mine was different. It wasn't, of course, got cut short because I came home. So, but everybody's experience is going to be different. You can share your experience and things like that. But I hope it was a little bit of insight into the graduating class of 2020, which is congratulations to all of you guys out there. But I hope it informs you about a little bit of kind of like decisions that you want to make, or answered any of the questions that you felt like, you didn't know the answers to, or people weren't answering properly enough for you. So I hope I kind of gave you a little bit of clarity, because I know I had tons of questions going into school. Grant, I don't know everything about college. I'm just telling you about my first year. So, things like that. If you guys have questions, or you want to know more, or I don't know, leave a comment, or, get at me on social media and I can tell you about a little bit more about what I went through, me personally, kind of thing. So, like I said before, thank you guys for watching this video. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because why not? Just subscribe. It's great. It's wonderful. It's this big, just yes. And if you are subscribed, make sure you have my post notifications on so you know when I post. I post every Wednesday at 4:30. And as always, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching my channel. And I will be back with another video. However, there's a catch. Next week, I may or may not be posting, so I'm going to let y'all know that now. But I will be back the week after. I will. But we shall see it all next week. Bye!